The Ricketts family have pulled out of their attempt to buy Chelsea Football Club after issues could not be addressed given the unusual dynamics around the sales process. This is big news. This is popular news amongst the Chelsea fan base, who have been desperate, absolutely desperate, to see the Ricketts family not as the new owners. Now, of course, fans are celebrating like crazy. This is being seen very much as a we won. Our protest worked. We were able to push them away. We were able to move them. We were able to stop them from coming in and taking over our football club. And there are large parts of that, for me, which are true. This was never going to be said or released by sources. It was always going to come down to processes and billionaires arguing over who's going to own what, who's going to get out, what people are going to get out of it, who's going to get the final say and control. And I'm sure that played a massive, massive part. But irrespective of that, we are going to take your calls. We are going to gauge how you're thinking and feeling. But the Ricketts family will not be the new owners of Chelsea Football Club. And that is a fact. The Ricketts Griffin Gilbert Group have decided, after careful consideration, not to submit a final bid for Chelsea. In the process of finalising their proposal, it became increasingly clear that certain issues could not be addressed given the unusual dynamics around the sales process. We have great admiration for Chelsea and its fans, and we wish the new owners well. I mean, it doesn't even really make much sense. I don't even understand it, to be honest with you. Unusual dynamics around the sales process. So generally, in my experience, when you're talking about the sales process, it's more we've got an issue with the vendors, the people selling the product, the club, the service, whatever it may be. I've read a few articles where they're talking about things between the billionaires couldn't be decided in terms of who's going to hold the power, the right to veto, the right for decisions, who's going to be able to take what out the club, what needs to be invested. Kind of strange to get literally to the 11th hour and not have that decided. Of course, there is fan theory, which I'm in high support of. I do think the Chelsea fans' protest, I do think the noise, I do think the bad publicity played a very big part in this. You know, almost the sales process is difficult. There are going to be lots of to-ing and throwing. This isn't as easy as buying a basketball franchise or a baseball franchise. There's a lot of trials and tribulations. The Brits and the Europeans, they seem to care a lot more passionately about their sports clubs than maybe the North Americans do. You could never, well, it happened once with MK Dons, but can you imagine a massive club in London moving to another major city in this country? Can you imagine if they tried to do that? So I think that's all played a part in this. But I want to know what you think and feel. What do you believe are the reasons that the Ricketts family have pulled out of Chelsea? Because that's what they've done. They have pulled out. The link to the call-in is inside our description below. For me, the fans not wanting them played a huge part, because if Chelsea fans were infused, because why aren't all the other billionaires having this issue? Listen, let's just cut the shit here. Let's cut the crap. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be nice and I can't be. All the other consortiums are exactly the same. It's a bunch of billionaires, hedge funds and investment companies putting money in to buy Chelsea. They're all relatively the same. Now, who the characters are and how they all made their money, that's up for debate and discussion. But essentially, it's a bunch of billionaires putting some money together to own a football club. Why is the sales process not too difficult for the other three remaining candidates? Why? It just doesn't make sense to me. I can't fathom as to why. The fan pressure has undoubtedly played a part. And I've been saying this to football fans for a long time. You are so much more powerful than you think you are. And if you want change at your club, do something about it. Stand up and be heard. And do you know what's interesting? When you've got an owner like a Roman, like a Sheikh Mansour, the public image of the club is important, but it isn't the be-all and end-all because you're going to continue to pump in all your money anyway. When you've got the types of people trying to buy Chelsea, public appearance is key because they don't want to pump their own money in per se to this club. They want investors, they want sponsors to be the people doing that. Therefore, the commercial element is important. And in the generation that we live in, if your public image is bad, it's going to damage you. It's as simple and straightforward as that for me. The fans have played a huge part in this. There might have been some difficult things behind the scenes. That's what they're going to run with. There will be a release soon, and it will detail exactly why the billionaires couldn't come to an agreement. And they'll make it sound, we really wanted it, but we just, between us, we couldn't come to an agreement, so we had to walk away. That's what they're going to tell you. And of course, that's how they'll brief you. And that's what the tier ones will say. I ain't buying it. The Chelsea fans won as far as I am concerned. A comment here says, good riddance. We don't need them. Now sell Lukaku to PSG. Now, that's another story going around today. My good old friend Dean Jones and Give Me Sport, one of the first to go with this. And of course, Sasha Tavolieri 2 days ago. PSG is a major option for Lukaku. There is talk that could happen. On top of that, Inter Milan also may present itself. This summer, it is highly likely at this moment in time that Lukaku will look for a move away from Chelsea. Chelsea will, of course, sanction this for the right amount of money. This could be big, big news because he is really not wanted there by the manager, fans, or anybody. John here says they all have, of course, they all have skeletons. I've said already, I would like to see they all have skeletons, but at the end of the day, somebody's got to own Chelsea. That's what it'll boil down to. Bowley in look at the LA Dodgers. Blah, 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 blah. In look at the LA Dodgers. I don't know what you mean by that. He does own part of the LA Dodgers. There's no doubt. Cedric here says, great news for Chelsea. It absolutely is great news for Chelsea. You can't get away from that. We had a super chat came in that says, Ollie at the wheel at Burnley. If someone made up a fake rumor and said, and like quoted Ornstein, and now everybody believes it's true. Ollie Yank. I can't believe people have fallen for it. But there we go. There we go. Ricketts Lee sick too. I do not know what that means. Simon Jordan 2.0, all of them. I kind of get where you're coming from there. I wouldn't want any of the bidders to be fair, is what Football Matters FC says. Listen, I kind of get that. You can still be run well with those types of owners. Look at Liverpool. You've just got it's all about who they have running the club. And what it does appear they're going to do at Chelsea is kind of keep a fair amount of continuity running. But anyway, we're going to take some calls now. We're going to get Matt on the line. We've got Zion. We've got Shrey. We've got Mr. Anthony. Big Chelsea fans coming on to tell us what they think and feel. You can phone in now as well, but make sure you've hit that like button for us. Get that done. Let's do this. How you doing, Matt? Big breaking news, positive news as well.
Nah, for sure. It's fantastic news. I mean, I was just on a couple of streams before, we were discussing it, and it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, Ricketts, these people are disgusting people. I never want them anywhere near my club. And Chelsea always wins. Chelsea fans, we always win. We did it at the Super League. We did it at now. So big up to Matisse, Eunice, Jem, obviously, who went, Nick Bloom, Mo from Blue Lounge, who all went to the protest. Obviously, there was a lot of other people. Not too sure who else went, but obviously big up to those local fans. Obviously here from the other side of the world, couldn't go locally to the protest, but obviously on social media always portraying the fact that we do not want the Ricketts at our club, and we won. We obviously got what we wanted. As you said, Terry, like they were saying that something came up, we couldn't do the bid. It's all rubbish. It's because that we won, the fans won. The societal attitudes won in this point that they are not wanted at the club. So it's the best thing they could have done is to leave. It was never going to work out if they ever join. There will be too many clashes, and even with potential, more bidders and investors, so they would have made no money from it. So it was the best that they did it. But now we have a clarity on possibly the new owner now, which is going to be Todd Boehly, and obviously all the investments and the players and everything that's going to be happening, which is going to be a massive ride for Chelsea. And I'm looking forward to it. Obviously on that PSG Lukaku, I'll touch upon that quickly. I assume it's false. I hope it's real That's what all Chelsea fans are we wanting now. We want to get rid of him as soon as possible. And again, these new owners coming in, maybe they can play a massive part of it. For me, the Ricketts, I don't see them coming in and making any change just because of the negative attitude they have towards everything, and looking at them and detailing them and looking into them and spending so much time talking about them. I've learned that they're just very, very bad people. They have no interest in sport. They have no interest in people. And obviously, the Islamic people we have at our club, Kante and Sarr and Mendy and all them wouldn't have been respected by people like the Ricketts. So it's great that they're not here, and Chelsea always win.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on when it comes to the players that this would have impacted, the people this would have impacted, because look, I look. The one thing I would say to Chelsea fans is this: you've still got to look at your club here, because your board were willing to have them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have passed it through that first stage. So I still think there's an element here of, because this was the Ricketts family pulling away. I think the only news that would have been better than this would have been the Chelsea board saying, after careful consideration, we've decided to now reject that bit. I still think that's what the Chelsea board should have done. This has been, the Ricketts have decided, they've got their reasons for it. But it's certainly good news, mate. And as you say, do you have any reservations over the news that came out that 50% of the ownership, if Todd Bowley gets it, will be with a hedge fund company? Are you
just
yeah, go on, mate.
Yeah, so I was also just to that previous point about the ownership. Our board never did anything about the Super League as well. Like, they never kind of came out and said anything. So I wasn't expecting, but that would have been a fantastic point if they did. It would have made us feel a lot better. But obviously, the Todd Bowley point, you said 50% of his hedge fund is going to be from some other investor. I'm pretty sure it is, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I just wonder whether Chelsea fans are kind of concerned. I mean, obviously, a hedge fund is only going to invest in something if they make money out of it in the medium to long term. Is that a concern for Chelsea fans along the line? Well, how are they going to make money out of us?
Obviously, that's going to be in the back of my head. Like, yes, we're not going to get this instant money like people think we are. We're not going to get 4 billion thrown at us like this. Like, we obviously have to make profit. We have to make money. Being a club like Chelsea, we are grateful that we have a massive fan base. We have so much stuff that we can profit on, and I think the new stadium coming into this can make us a lot more money. Obviously our Stamford Bridge has, I think, 45,000 capacity, and if we invest into a new stadium, we can up it to 70, 80, and pretty much double our profits at the stadium game. So I do see us making a massive investment, but obviously that's ifs and buts, and we'll have to find out.
There we go. Listen, Matt, thank you very much for coming on and having your say. I really appreciate it, bro, and we'll speak soon. Top man. Thank you. Tahir here says, great news for Chelsea fans. I think Roman told them no. Is what Tahir's got to say. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're good. Bruce Buck needs to go, is what Lone Trick says. And I do stand by what I say there. I think this is where, look, it's hard for football fans. They want to enjoy football. They want the escapism from it. People want the tribalism as well. They want to get behind their team and enjoy football. It's hard to always be kind of political and out there fighting. But as we say, the board didn't say no to these people. Next on the show, Zion is here. What are you saying, mate?
Oh, you're right, Terry.
Yeah, I'm very well. What's your reaction to the Ricketts family pulling out?
Like you said, it just says the fans won again. At the end of the day, fans are bigger than the club. Fans are bigger than these owners. Fans are bigger than football. Without fans, football isn't what it is today. Even you know this. So obviously we stopped the Super League when it was all going ahead. Obviously we were the first club to protest, and and then Chelsea was the first club to back out of it, and then City followed, and everyone else followed behind them. So we're leading an example for other clubs who are in a situation like us, especially when you have owners like the Ricketts. I mean, I've done a lot of research on these guys, and their baseball team, the Chicago Cubs, they haven't reached a major final or in their whatever conference or whatever for many years. They've made the new stadium, or they've renovated it, but that's done them nothing. Their fans hate them, and they want them out. So, and you know what? It's just the discrimination that these guys have against, people with different colored skin. I mean, like the other guy just said, I mean, we got players, like Rudiger, who's obviously going to be leaving, but we got Sarr, we got, Kante, we got Mendy. These guys, I don't think the Ricketts would have, obviously from the outside, they would be like, yes, these are our players. But inside, they'll be like, we don't respect these guys because they don't have, our color of the skin. it hurts. You know, in the 21st century, we're talking about racism, we're talking about these type of things, which it should have ended, in my opinion, ages ago. We shouldn't be talking about this. We should be talking about football. We should be talking about, going forward, with a club and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, big up to the fans who protested and was at Stamford Bridge for that game before Newcastle. Big up to them, and they made their voices heard. They made their voices heard. I know the board didn't do shit all for this because Bruce Buck is an absolute idiot as well. He's the type of guy who takes money under the desk. He's that type of guy, and I want him out of the club as well at the end of the day. So fair play to the fans. It was the fans who did this, not the board, not the Rickett fans. They pulled out because the fans pressurized them. If they had brought Chelsea, they knew that this wouldn't be a happy story. They knew that Chelsea fans were never going to accept them taking over this club.
I hear a lot of what you're saying there, mate, and I look at it this way: even if these emails hadn't come out or hadn't even happened, that would be the best case scenario. The way the Chicago Cubs fans talk about their ownership should have made Chelsea fans protest anyway. If Todd Bowley's ownership of LA was looked at by fans of the Dodgers as being atrocious, hideous, nasty, ruined their club, ruined it for them, you should be protesting. It shouldn't. The moral stamp, the grounds, I absolutely get, but we can't. We should. The whole of football should be together on this. I've said it before. When it comes to ownership, I stand with rival fans because it could next time be your club. And I kind of get that rivals want your new owners to be terrible, run you into the ground, to take you out of the way so that they're able to progress ahead of you. And I understand that view. But equally, if we're allowing these types of owners to continually take over our clubs, at some point that will be your football team that gets those exact type owners as well, because we'll become a haven for it. So it's very good news indeed.
At the end of the day, rivals fans, they're entitled for us to, go down. They're entitled for them to, see us not get the success, the trophies. But this is more than football. This is about, a person's right. This is about people who play the game football. This is not just about, the football game itself and trophies and money and all involved. This is about, people's careers at the end of the day. We got loads of people at Chelsea that work and aren't, white, aren't, these, the world is a very, type of place where everybody should be treated the same. Everybody. And I'm so happy to hear this news. And you know what? The first time I heard this, which was obviously on Sky Sports, I was jumping out of my seat. I was like, you know what? Thank God for this, because the fans just showed that This is it.
I hear you, Zion. Top man for coming on and having your say. I appreciate you. Thank you very, very much indeed. Hussein here says the Chicago Cubs won the championship like 3 years ago. Just to correct the last caller, but I definitely don't want the Ricketts family. The thing is, winning the tournaments, it's almost like an irrelevant point. And it's not to disrespect you there, Hussein. I really appreciate the super chat. Chelsea fans have not been pretending through this process to be fans of Major League Baseball, even fans of North American sports in general, and to know the ins and outs of what the Ricketts family have and have not done. They have been led by the words and reaction of the fans and supporters of the Cubs. And I think that's what's key. It's not just Man United fans weren't happy with the Glazers. There was green and gold Glazer out protest against the Glazers when we were winning Champions Leagues, because the way they were running the club and things that were going on behind the scenes were still frustrating and annoying, but we were winning. The only reason it's getting more traction and noise now is because we've stopped winning things. But these things, for the diehard true fans, we've always been Glazer out, irrespective of winning, because they were never good for our football club. But thank you for that super chat, my friend. Next on the show, I'm going to Mr. Anthony. What you saying, bro?
Terry, let me start by saying, unlucky. You know what I mean? It is fantastic news. This week, I was feeling a bit weird. I was happy for the team, proud of the team, but at the end of the day, I felt like it was not enough, even though we went out of the Champions League and we do have the FA Cup to play for. And this news just put me in such a good mood. I'm so thankful for all those fans who went out there during that Newcastle game and protested. I mean, absolutely brilliant. Everybody, I mean, I joined Twitter for the first time in my life just to say no to Ricketts, to be honest, and I didn't know what the hell Twitter was, to be honest. I'm 30 years old. Could you believe that? You know what I mean? It's such a relief. You know what I mean?
I absolutely hear you. And do you believe that this was a fan victory? Are you kind of buying this sort of, oh, we pulled out because there was complications with the sales process?
To be honest, I believe it might be a bit of both in
Yeah.
reality. However, I would like to point out if they couldn't talk amongst themselves and figure out who was going to run the club, how the hell are they going to run our club?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think you put, I agree with you. I think it is a bit of both. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's almost this case of we're having troubles to get this over the line anyway. There's already power struggles internally. The fans don't want us. The media are going to come for us. Is there a point? Is this worth the hassle? Because, is there the money to be made out of this? Can we actually make as much money as we're looking to try? I think they just got to the end and thought, all things being equal, this is probably a bad idea.
Just one more thing, Terry. To be honest, like I didn't know what baseball. I have never watched baseball in my whole life. I just only know that it's a long ass game. To be honest, however, I've just went on by what I have been seeing, reading, and everything. The whole reason why the government and everybody wanted Roman out was a moral standpoint of what he has done in his life, right? I believe the racism and everything that the Ricketts had, I didn't think that it even warranted them to put a bid in for the club because at the end of the day, if you're looking at it morally, it's really not right, to be honest. Why should we go in that path? And then comes in how they
Yeah,
run the clubs
yeah.
and everything.
Well, as we know, this as woke as the world has become, it is as inconsistent as ever.
It's
When it comes to,
unbelievable.
well, it isn't. It isn't because most people. Again, I'm going to get political here, but I don't believe most people that virtue signal.
No,
I believe there's a deviant side to all of them. But listen,
every
listen,
single person.
Mr. Anthony, top man, thank you for coming on and having your say, and we'll speak again soon. Thank you, brother. Obviously, him looking very happy there with all Chelsea fans about this news. We're going to be getting a Shrey on soon. There's Coach's Corner. I'm not sure of your actual name to come on the show as well. We'll do some more of your live comments that are coming through here. I rest my case. I don't know what you guys are talking to. Star-Lord says yes to Ricketts. Well, they're not going to be here, my friend, so that isn't going to happen. What we're saying here, City since the Champions League. Terry, it's Good Friday. Terry, it's Good Friday. Spend some time with your kids. They will grow up before you know it. Trust me, I missed my kids growing up. Listen, they're having a nap. I've been with them all morning. Relax, bro. They're having a nap. I do a bit of work. Just chill. I actually think you're trying to be nice, but it's all good. Trust me. Me and my kids are grand, brother. We're all good. They sit in here with me when I'm doing stuff. I play with them. We go out. It's fine. Don't have to worry about me, my friend. You don't have to worry about me. But thank you for being very kind. I appreciate that. Burnley sacking Max Pratt. Listen, I was a little bit surprised to see Sean Dyche fired today. Because I still think Burnley might get out of trouble. But listen, has Sean Dyche done himself dirty by staying too long? A year, 18 months ago, his stock was high. It's dropped a bit this season. But I'm sure he'll get himself another job. But maybe not another Premier League job. He might have got another Premier League job a year ago. He's the kind of manager, by the way, that Everton should have bent over backwards to bring in. Because I think I'm intrigued to see Sean Dyche with a bigger budget. Because it wasn't his decision not to buy players. I'm pretty sure he would like better quality players. So I'd like to see him with a bit of a budget. But there we go. Why are Top Blues? I don't know what you're saying there. Why are Top Blues and Yadas? I don't know what that means. So adamant that online fans didn't contribute to stopping the Ricketts. Well, listen, I don't know who these Top Blues are. What I will say is this: the people that I saw at the protests, I recognize lots, are online fans. Yes, some of them go to games, but they're online fans. And There is this. I'm not sure if every fan base has this. Man United do. There is like a disconnect between certain types of fans. So you could be an online and a match going fan, but there's certain match going fans that don't like online fans, which I just find really weird. I just believe it's all down to. Do you know what I think it comes down to? And I really believe this. 10 years ago, certain match going fans were the face of the club. So they would be the same fans who Sky Sports and the radio channels would ring and speak to, the presidents of the supporters clubs, the guy that runs the company that makes the flags for the club, you know, head of the supporters trust. They were the go-to people. And then the YouTubers and content creators came along who are better on camera, generally have a better palette for football, articulate about it better. They have now become the face. They've become the voice of the fan base. And the old school, I just think their nose have been pushed out of joint. There's a Man United fan I know that will remain nameless. This guy didn't want to get involved with the full-time Devils when it started. He was charging £300 like a show to be on there because that's what he charged news networks to interview him. 6-7 years later, this guy gets no work anywhere from no one because no company's interested in speaking to him because other United fans have now overtaken. He should have got on board with the full-time Devils in the beginning for free, like all of us did, and he would have carried on and been as popular as ever. That's why they're bitter, I'm telling you. I'm telling you that's why they're bitter. But anyway, we digress massively here. The Ricketts to buy Liverpool soon. That's not going to happen. The Pompey guy with the drums and badges. Yeah, you get my example. But I'm talking about the clubs that the media are more interested in on a regular basis. Explosive Gamer here says, yep, those disconnects definitely exist. It's all about ego. I'm a better fan than you. I'm a different. Yeah. Why don't they want to speak to me? I remember a guy approaching the AFTV crowd at the FIFA Best Awards when we were together, and he said, "Listen, I know you guys get a lot of stick, but you know it's only because most Arsenal fans wish that their opinions were listened to like yours. They're just annoyed that they're not being listened to and you are." And just listening to them talk about it, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Make sure those like buttons are being smashed, please, people, especially you Chelsea fans out there. Next caller we're going to go to is Shrey. What are you saying, buddy?
Hey, Ted, can you hear me?
Perfect. What are you saying?
Yeah, I just want to say this is fantastic news. I mean, these guys are so inhuman. So just mind my language. I mean, these guys. I mean, the way he talks about Islamophobia. I mean, imagine guy. What would happen to guys like Rudiger, Kante, all the guys that you have mentioned, and you know, it just didn't make sense to me from jump, and I don't even understand why they were even in this process to begin with. That's the first thing. Second is shout out to all the guys that were there at the protest. You know, they made their voices heard. Everyone from Yunus, Matisse, everybody. Shout out to them. And I think this is great. And I think there's another thing that I don't know if anybody's mentioned it or not, but I believe there was a meeting that the Ricketts set up with Bruce Buck. I think a week before the deadline for the like beyond the 1 week before the date they were supposed to meet as executives. So I think probably I guess my gut feels that Raine found out about it and then they probably removed them from the process and then they're just putting that PR spin that there was a split between the shares. There was a disagreement. So I think that is a possible angle. I think that is more plausible to me because they basically breached the law. And if I'm Rain and if I find out about it, it's going to be a bad look to me, bad look for me. So I'm like, I would be like, why are you in the process? So
No,
I think that's part of it.
I totally agree. I think it all plays a big part, and it's great news, as you say. Bowley looks like
Yes.
it looks like it's going to be Bowley, but you never quite know because the media haven't been right about a few of these things so far.
Yes.
Shrey, top man for coming on and having your say.
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I
Yeah,
just
go on,
wanted
mate.
to
Go on.
mention a couple things. Yeah. So I heard you mentioning to Matt about the Clear Lake thing. So I just wanted to mention that. And I just want to put other Chelsea fans also at ease that this is nothing because if you look at it, the Todd Bowley is given operational control. So even though if Clear Lake gets 50%, Todd Bowley is still making the final call as far as the running of the club. So I genuinely don't. I think it's just more of a thing of like how much money Clear Lake have put in Todd Bowley's bid, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
I think that's the deal. It's like
my challenge to that, Shrey, and it's a rhetorical challenge. I want people to think about this.
Mhm.
I get they're putting their money in, but
Right.
unless there is a tax reason, so it's going to save the hedge fund money in tax somewhere along the line, no investment company or hedge fund puts money into invest money without looking for a return. My question is, how do you make a return out of a football club? You either put them on the stock market or you physically take money out of them. Or you sell your share later on down the line at a profit. So they're the only three options that I can see. So that would be my only concern as a Chelsea fan. And I would.
I think they would have that contractually sorted out. I think.
I get
Yeah.
that. But the point is, all three of those things could be detrimental to your club. So fans should be asking about that. But Shrey, top man for coming on and having your say. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you very much indeed. And I said to a lot of people, that's the key thing here that you have to focus on. I understand the Ricketts family got all the attention because of the moralistic issues, but you've got to look at the breakdown of the ownership. You've got to be demanding answers. What does this mean? What does this look like? What are you going to take out of us? We want it in writing. We want it set in stone and signed in your blood that you're not going to do what the Glazers do and take billions of pounds out of the football club over the next 10 years. That's what Chelsea fans have got to try and guard against, because your income isn't going to be as high straight away without Roman because of the loans he used to give and also the loan system being taken away slowly because of the new FIFA rules. Chelsea have got to recoup between 30 and 60 million a year of income. What they don't need is anybody taking money out of the football club. But listen, the Ricketts family have pulled out. They will not be the Chelsea owners. Thank you to everyone who's super chatted, everyone who's smashed the like button, and everybody who's commented on the show. Hot Takes is out later on this evening. Myself, Liaz, and D, where we're previewing both FA Cup games. We've got some mad hot takes on there, so make sure you're tuning in later. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless.